But yeah, it's Knoxville. It's a little chilly, a titch bit nipply, if you will. Um, and am I'm caffeinated. I'm awake. Played some video games. I hate that. I don't know why it looks like dandruff, something, dry skin. I don't know. Anyways, um, went to Dunkin', chilled out for a little bit, played some video games. Um, Good morning, Chris. How are you, buddy? Thanks for tuning in. Twitch represent. Um, Not a typical Twitch streamer, but then again, what's typical? I'm doing fantastic. It's Thursday. It's game day. Um, like I said, woke up, went to Dunkin', got some coffee, opened up the laptop, played a little video game, a little Project Zomboid. Did I sleep good? I guess so. Yeah, I don't remember sleeping bad, so yeah, I guess so. How about you? Megan! Hello, my dear. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Um, so I just went to Food City behind Dunkin', got me some water. Um, Took my meds. You slept good? Excellent. A good night's sleep is very important. Excuse me. We should play a game sometime. Um, it's difficult for me to play multiplayer games only because I have a laptop and it's more of a what's the thinner version of a laptop? I think it's called an Air or Airbook or no, um, some kind of book. I can't remember the term. Um, it's a Lenovo ThinkPad. It's pretty much a tablet. It's pretty much a tablet. How you be? I be well. Thank you for asking. Notebook, yeah. It's pretty much a notebook. Yeah. It like I can play some things on it, but it's like it doesn't have a hard, excuse me, it doesn't have a disk drive of any kind. Um, I can put Steam on it, so I can play a few games, but nothing too graphics intensive, nothing too beefy. I wish I had like a beefy gaming computer, even a gaming laptop would be sweet, so that I can stream, etc. But what I have is pretty good. Uh, Pam bought it brand new, and she used to play Dungeons and Dragons online. So does it have Intel or AMD? I'm gonna guess it has Intel. Like it's a Lenovo ThinkPad. Um, pretty it's pretty good for just a for like I said a notebook. I can play Age of Mythology on it. I can play Planet Zomboid on it. I can't play multiplayer Zomboid because I tried doing that one time, and the folks that um, I tried to do multiplayer on Steam, my ping was horrible. I was using my phone as a what do you call it? Mobile hotspot, and they were over in Europe, so it was just lag, super lag. Um, there may come a time where I can, you know, maybe at some point in my life I'll be able to get uh, a nice portable gaming computer. That would be swell. I have a HP laptop. It has 8 gig of RAM and terabyte hard drive and Intel. Nice. It's not like super priority for me because the few games that I like to play, like really, I liked it when I played Minecraft on my phone. Like I could have an Xbox One controller Bluetooth connect to my phone and just play that. That was nice. I don't play video games very often, and the one game that I was looking for in my life, Planet Zomboid, and it doesn't require a major thing. The only thing, like I said, is multiplayer. That might make it a little difficult. And in that case, what I would probably do is if I ever played Zomboid multiplayer, I'd want to stream it as well because video games help with my mental health problems. Oh, sure. Yeah. The stay stimulated. Absolutely. Um, for many reasons, they can. I get that. I can understand that. Uh, keeps my mind off my anxiety and depression. I hear you. Yep. What's good? What's good with me? Well, Thursdays are Dungeons and Dragons days, like gaming days. So tonight about 5:30, I'm gonna go um, play a session for a little while. Actually, do something social right down the road from here. As a matter of fact, at Sci-Fi City, so that's nice. At some point today, I'm gonna go get me some Chinese food. That's nice. Um, what else is good? Um, scheduled an appointment to get new tires. I need 2 new tires for the van. So I'm gonna do a little bit of maintenance on the van. Never played D&D. It's okay. So tabletop role playing games are really cool. I dig them a lot. Like as much as like the way some people like video games and the escape and the the like you said, it gets your mind off of things. It stimulates your brain, your problem solving, you're entertaining yourself, like like watching TV or checking out a movie or something like that. There's a lot of different aspects to tabletop role playing game where you're basically creating a character in a story, and your character has different abilities depending on the setting and whatnot. If it's a modern setting, maybe you're a crime fighter. If it's a fantasy setting, maybe you're an adventurer. If it's a sci-fi setting, you're an explorer or um, a criminal, or you're playing some sort of fun, different type of life, different type of adventure. Um, and it's better to get immersed and invest in a character than say somebody else wrote a television show or somebody else wrote a series or a movie or a series of books or comic books or a video game. You know, it has all that type of thing rolled into one, except it's your character. And me being a world builder and somebody in a creative mind, I enjoy you know exploring the different aspects of a character that's not me. In a lot of ways, like when you decide what a character is, it makes that character separate from you. So even though you made it, even though it's your creation, you're setting up the rules that my character would do these things and would not do these things, and it just ends up evolving into something that's not you. So you'd be like, okay, instead of this is what I would do if I were in that situation. Well, it's not me, it's my character. What would my character do based on his backstory, based on his experience, based on his skills and talents and whatnot? Have you played Magic the Gathering? I tried playing that a couple times. I really don't like it, only because shoot, phone call. Good to see your face. Good to see you too. Have a great day. Um, Megan's a very busy woman. Um, Magic the Gathering is like a strategy type of a game. You know, it's for like people that play board games like Monopoly and stuff where they like I'm not a strategist. I'm not a let's see what what kind of tactics I could play in this game in order to get the advantage, in order to win, in order to accumulate the most amount of stuff. And like I'm not like a smart and brainy type of player like that. I'm more of a role player. If I'm gonna create a character, if I'm gonna play a game, I want to play it like kind of like an acting gig. I want to embody the character and relate to people and interact with people, and the quests and such are fun to do, but it's more along the lines of, like I said, just developing your character and your relationship with other people, with other characters, and with NPCs, forming bonds, forming friendships, forming alliances, whatever. Um, but yeah, Magic the Gathering is okay. You play that card, and let me see what cards I have. I'm going to play this card, and this in combination with this card is going to make you lose a turn, and then I get to play this card, or you play that card, and it messes up. It's like I'm just that's not me. Have you seen or heard the new game Elden Ring? I've heard of it. I haven't really looked too much into it. Um, Dungeons and Dragons is like a medieval fantasy type of a thing. Elves and dwarves and wizards and spell casting and a lot of that stuff is not it's not really a genre that I like, but there are aspects of it that I can appreciate. And the same as like a Elden Ring or a what's the other big one back in the day? Elder Scrolls. Um, what's the big one? Skyrim was one of those, or like you know your fantasy like uh, Final Fantasy or stuff like that. Like I'm just not like Lord of the Rings, all that stuff. I'm just not. That's not my genre of choice. But the thing about Dungeons and Dragons is it's popular, and a lot more people play that than play the other games. So if you're gonna find somebody, if you're gonna find a group to join, you end up you know you end up playing Dungeons and Dragons just because that's what everybody plays. It's like saying I want to play a board game and everyone plays Risk or Monopoly or Settlers of Catan or um, Cards Against Humanity or like there's like five games that people play when or like Warhammer and stuff like that. If I wanted to play something sci-fi, Ian, what's going on, sir? Zelda was the shit back in the day. I never played. I never liked those. I never liked those games. Um, I like modern genre. I like sci-fi, like space travel type stuff. And there are a few, like Star Citizen, as far as video games are concerned. Star Citizen is the type of game that I would play and I would enjoy because you get to create an original character. I get to develop a backstory for my character. There are different types of jobs that you can perform, different types of missions you can go on. You could just explore. I could literally hitchhike across the universe. You know, um, I could just be a bum, be a hobo, space hobo, which I'm totally cool with. Well, games back in Nintendo and Atari days were limited. Yeah, yeah. That's the reason that I really latched on to Dungeons and Dragons and pen and paper role playing games because for video games, Melissa Mopa, how you doing, honey? Um, with video games, you're limited by graphics. You're limited by you know the gameplay. Most of the games are on rails. The true sandbox games really didn't come out until like the past 20 years, 15 years, which is funny to say 15 to 20 years because that's a big number, and it's not. It's still the 21st century. 20 years. Yeah. Anyways, uh, um, that's funny. Anyways, so yeah, video games were very limiting, especially like in 90, 91 when I first started. The late 1900s when I started playing. Um, Tabletop role playing games is the sandbox. That's the original sandbox game, other than sandbox, like an actual sandbox, cops and robbers and cowboys and that sort of thing. Um, Cowboys and indigenous folk. Willow was another Nintendo game I enjoyed. Willow, as in the movie? Was it an adaptation of the movie? It was a game like Zelda. Oh, oh loud, where that is. What is that noise? Somebody's making a lot of noise. Wasn't very popular. Um. Oh, it's a truck back there. That's what it is. Um. Yeah, it's an RPGs are an art form, man. It kind of pissed me off when games like Final Fantasy and shit started coming out, and they started calling those role playing games. Like I think they called Pokemon that sort of thing like a role playing game, and I'm like, no, it's collectible. I mean, it's a strategy type of a game, but it's like, no, it's not a role playing game. Final Fantasy is not a role playing game, but they're like Japanese RPGs, is what they call them. It's like, no, you're not really playing a role. It's a turn based strategy. It's true. So I'm looking behind me in my mirrors, and there's no vehicles behind me. There was a pickup truck, and this noise that I was hearing sounded like a large vehicle driving through the woods, or like a wood chipper, or like some big construction vehicle that was tearing through some woods or something. And it's actually much farther away. I could barely see because there are trees behind me. Like back on the other side of all those trees, folks are doing some kind of construction or something, or tearing up some brush, or I don't know what they're doing. But I just hear, and I'm like, shit, what the hell is that? It's Gojira. Freaking black shirt. Anyways, um, yeah, I, I, I wonder. So I haven't been a kid for many, many years, for like 40 years. And I don't, it's weird to me because there was a time when I didn't have a radio. And I certainly didn't have a television. My parents did, the household did, but as a kid, I had no control over it whatsoever. Um, I didn't have a mobile device in my hand. I didn't have any video games. I had it was go outside and play and grab sticks and rocks and whatnot, and play pretend and run around in the woods, behind the house and stuff, and create your world. And I'm like, I know that it does exist somewhere, but it doesn't seem to be common. Um, I don't have a family, and I don't like I hang out near a family, but I don't have, consistent interaction with them to know if kids do that anymore. You know, Ben's a great guy. Him and Nicole are fantastic parents. And I would assume that they are that way with their kids, where they're like, okay, put the thing away and go play out back. Or, go, like, I know that Ben includes his children in the chores and stuff that he does around the yard and stuff like that. Like, he's very interested in permaculture, and I know that it's a passion for him, and it's something that he not only is interested himself, but he knows the value of knowing these things. Like, it's stuff that can apply to for everybody in, um, you know, community, in, you know, self-sustaining, helping out the planet by being aware of what you can grow and what you can do to give back to the planet. Um, so I know the way his brain works. I'm almost positive that his kids will be all right in that capacity. Um, but yeah, I don't. I wonder if kids are given that opportunity to create, to build their worlds in their head. Um, my parents were worried about that with me, with video games and television, just watching television, and it certainly wasn't the same kind of television that people watch today. Now there's so much available to a person instantly. All the streaming, all the YouTube, all the um, the video games that are available on people's, like, tons of stuff on people's phones, on the internet. Like, it is jam packed. Did you hear that? The loud fucking noise over that was. It sounds like a wood chipper. They're blasting through there. Anyways, um, that's interesting to think about. Anyways, And there's certainly there's always entertainment. I'm sure the same thing that I said is the same thing that people said 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 80 years ago, 120 years ago. You know, like when they came up with the phonograph, everyone's like, they're not playing it live. Instead, they're playing it on a disc, on a what happened to live performance. This stuff is going to ruin people's minds. Jukebox. I love reading about that stuff. Turn of the century, going from live performance to written music to the before the phonograph, the oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Player pianos and stuff like that. When they had the contraptions where a piano could play without a player, just turning a crank and making music on its own. The cylinders, and then the phonograph, and then the jukebox where you'd have like a machine that could play the music on its own and continuously play. It's like the MP3 player of the back in the day. It's funny. That's something I'm interested in as well because I'm a nerd. Is that second industrial revolution when everything started to blow up? When when technology, when the world started to open up, when people started thinking about machines instead of in mass production, assembly lines, the printing press. You could create books super cheap. Was where the word pulp came from. The pulp comics and pulp novels, penny dreadfuls. You could publish quicker, ship them quicker. Get newspapers became popular, so stories were published like as soon as you could, as quick as you could print them, as quick as you could write it, you could print it and get it shipped out all over the world. So the news started to spread quick, stories started to spread quick. You started to hear about the world where you never would before, unless somebody came in off a boat, traveling the world. Like that's as big as the internet became. Instead of telling stories around a campfire, you could just you pick up a book, read about the world. It's kind of fun. Anybody still here? Everybody went quiet. Is that it? Folks got bored of me? All right. I'm here just listening as I work. There we go. All right. Well, at least I'm hearing from somebody. It's nice to know because the no only 6 people, according to this app, only 6 people have joined my show. Remember the days when we had like 60 people? I mean, I realize it's 10:30 in the morning and folks have shit to do. Everybody's working. I bet you nobody gets notifications either. Well, I think I'm going to go start some laundry. Maybe I'll jump back on here for a little bit. I gotta charge my phone too. It's down 30%. Um, all right. I got a bunch of stuff to do today, but I want to keep in touch with y'all, so you may see me a little bit later. Enjoy your day. If I don't see you, and if anybody's watching this on replay, thank you very much for tuning in. Follow me if you haven't followed me. Share the broadcast with your friends.